We are very excited to be hosting a series of webinars based on the research that is funded through an NIH grant on immune aging. And this grant has enabled researchers at Stanford and partners in Israel, Dr. Mark Davis, Dr. Shai Shen-Orr, and others, to really look at aging, healthy aging across the immune system, across the ages, and different clinical parameters that are associated with healthy aging. Today's talk is really looking at strength in aging and looking at, if you've been a research participant in our center, why we ask you to do the tests that we're doing. And this is the first series because we want to really share what we are learning. This is a hot topic, and we are learning more from research participants like you, from our colleagues, from investigators at Stanford and outside of Stanford, and really want to give back to our community and to our research participants. So we're very grateful for everyone joining today. So today we're going to be talking about functional measurements of strength and aging. I'm Sharon Chinthrajah. I am a pulmonologist and an allergist and immunologist at Stanford, and I co-direct the Sean and Parker Center. And I'm joined by Bettia Celestin, who is a cardiologist and really the main clinical investigator who has been seeing participants in our center. She's been able to look at a lot of these clinical measurements associated with cardiovascular risk factors and immune aging. Those are topics for another day, but really has been thoughtful and mindful about what we're including. We're very excited that she helped us put this presentation together. So we're excited for all of you to be here. So here's a little bit of our roadmap. What functional tests are we assessing in our research? Why do we make you do all of these tests? Why does it matter? What do these tests signal? And what are these tests telling us about your age or health? And really importantly, a theme that you're going to see across our presentation, which should be no shocker, is that as we age, we lose some of our strength and our functional ability. And what are tips and tricks to maintain strength and healthy aging to really have good quality of life as we get older? What are things that we can do in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond to maintain an active and healthy lifestyle? So I will turn this over to Bettia.
Yes, thank you, Sharon. Okay, so I will start the presentation with the 5 steps that we are currently doing in some of the project at the Sean Parker to assess your strengths in general. So the first one is, so we have the angry strength test. So the angry strength test, usually we just measure how hard you squeeze and how hard you can squeeze. We will go over each test, so you will see why we are doing that and what is important for your like aging and health. But we wanted to have like a big picture of what kind of tests we are measuring for the PO1 measurement and for other studies. So the first one is the angry strength test. The second one is the time up and go test. So we time how long it takes you to stand up, walk a short distance, and sit back down. The third test is the single leg balance test. So it's really about your balance. We ask you to stand on one foot, and we try to see if you can stay on one foot for at least 60 seconds. And we assess your balance. So it doesn't matter which foot, you can choose the one that you prefer. The fourth test is the 30-second chair stance test. So we count how many times you can stand up from the chair in 30 seconds. And the last one is the 10-meter walk test. We time how long it takes you to walk 10 meters. It's really like we measure your speed. And it could be normal paced and fast paced. not running. So you can look at this test. It's really simple test that we measure, but each one of these has a deep scientific meaning, and we will show you why. So the first big question before we go over each test is, why does strength decline matter? So it's really to see your muscle strength progressively decline with aging. So we really want to know. So it's like a natural biological process, and it begin really earlier than most people expect, and it accelerates after 60 years old. And we really want to measure the acceleration and when it happened, because sometimes it could happen earlier. So you will see. And now, what does that matter beyond the gym, for example? Because in older adults, mobility decline and physical activity are actually a risk factor for further health problems. And even when it's premature, we can have a signal of health issue, for example. So the graph that you can see here, we have it from the Journal of American Geriatric Society, and that shows that people with mobility, and we really want to show you that it's not something that it's something that you can change, and we can do intervention, and we will talk about it too.
Muscle strength declines, people are at higher risk for falls. And we know, that falls, hip fractures have significant impact on health and recovery. And so these are important things. And I think important to be aware of that as we hit certain milestones that we have to work harder to keep up our muscle strength with diet and exercise.
Exactly. Totally agree. So it's about chronological age, sorry, and biological age. It's really to show you the difference between your actual age and you have like a biological age. And it's really here what we want to assess in the functional test. It's it's also because it can reflect your age, it also measure a biological age. So individual age are different from biological age. That's the main idea of this slide. And the physical performance that we are doing during the different research study is really to assess that. Because we can identify and do prevention, as we talked earlier. Because we have frailty, it's like what we call frailty is a gradual loss of your physical reserve. And the fall, as Sharon already talked about, it's a leading cause of injury and hospitalization in older adults. And so if you can prevent that, it's even better for the patient in general and the population. And it's also a marker. It's a marker of other health risk, as we already said. So the first test is the hand grip strength test. So it's about measuring the motor and functional performance of your hand, especially how much force you can generate with a device that we call a dynamometer. So here's the thing: the hand grip strength test is one of the best indicators of your overall body strength. It's really a sample measurement that we can do during research, that will assess your overall muscle health and also your nervous system function in some part of it. It's like the performance is significantly lower in elderly people. It's because in daily tasks you are doing anguish stress, and you are using your muscle of your hand, the nerve like portion of it, the mechanism and the underlying or physical mechanisms that we have under just a sample action that we are doing. So, for example, opening a jar, carrying your groceries, using some utensil, and just communication, what we all do, communicating with a phone. So that's why it's so important.
And these are the things that you can notice yourself in yourself or in people in your family when they start to have difficulties in doing these kind of daily tasks that maybe their hand grip strength is weaker. And as Bettia mentioned, this is really a such a nuanced thing because we use this hand grip strength every day, and it might be the first sign that we notice that there's some weakness there, and it's a window into your overall strength, as Bettia mentioned. So it's something that can kind of let the light bulb go on that overall strength may be declining, which may not be so obvious otherwise.
So it was research participant here that have a weaker stress and grid strength test. Okay. So the red one is the weakest, and the blue one is the non-weak. And you can see that they have a survival that is like less variable. So they have less survival, like in 5 years. Even if we assess for 8 years, so this study was 8 years in total. So you can see the decline really almost at the beginning. I think in the 1 year, we can already see that the survival is less for the weaker population. Yeah. So it's a good discussion because all of these different things that we give you as like some tips to improve the hand grip stress, it's the exercise that you can do. Of course, we have like a little warning, like to just consult a qualified professional because it depends if you suffer of different diseases, for example, arthritis or other diseases that can interfere with this different exercise. But it's simple exercise that you can do to improve your strength, your hand grip strength. So, for example, ball squeeze. Yeah, so it targets the muscle of your hand, so your palm. You just grab a tennis ball and you just do not use the stress ball. So probably a lot of you have some stress ball or already use a stress ball. And it's just you just gently squeeze a ball for 5 seconds and you repeat. And it's like a sample test that you can do daily and it doesn't take any time and you can do it like when you work. Exercise that you can do, it's a toe wringing. It targets the muscle of the forearm mainly. So this, you can do it, of course, when you do some tasks and daily habit at home. And probably you already do it without really being conscious about that. Could be an exercise that can improve your hand grip strength. Just grab a wet towel and twist the towel. And in each direction, you do it for 10 and 15 seconds and you repeat. The third trick that you can use to improve the strength is about what we call the wrist curl with a towel too or a lightweight. And it's the same as targeting your muscle of your forearm. You hold the towel, you sit or you stand with the forward support and you keep your palm facing upward. And you slowly curl wrist up and then lower back down and you repeat. And the last one is just pinch a clothespin. And this is more for your finger. You just hold it between your thumb and your index, and you gently squeeze the clothespin, and you slowly release to close, and you repeat. So this is sample exercise that you can do daily. Of course, the ball squeeze maybe will be like the one that mostly like people will know, but it's only other things like simple habits that you can have, and that can improve your hand grip strength. So the second test is a single leg balance test. So it's really to measure your balance, your postural control. So it's about your muscle strength and also your flexibility. It's really reliable. It's something that we really used in research study. And there is really key finding several years that poor balance is associated with an increase of fall risk for sure. This is something that we know. And the fact that we cannot maintain for 10 seconds will predict the risk of fall and mortality. So we have also some recommendation for balance training. So here, for example, this is just to show you, every time we show you some studies that show that, for example, here the balance test was really increasing with age, or if there is an impact with health. But here it's a illustration that the single balance test really show that when we age, it's really, we like, it's less than 10 seconds. The over 60, 65 years old, there is more people that do less than 10 seconds. And when the younger people usually last for the whole 60 seconds. So it's just to show you that how age will discriminate with the single leg balance test.
And
So
and what is normal to kind of expect across these different ages?
yeah,
Because certainly a 9-year-old could probably stand with their eyes closed for a full minute, and it's sometimes surprising to think and know that we lose that ability as we get older.
mm. So this is just an illustration. It's one of the studies that we did within the project baseline, and you can see what I already told you. Like when we age, we last less than when we're younger. So this is from the WHO. It's old, but it's just showing you the fact that when we have less balanced tests, like we have more mortality, and it's really different components that really play. It's of course it's the personal determinant, but also the health, all the determinant of behavior, the social determinants, the economic determinant, and the physical environment. So it's really multiple variables that we count when we explore this kind of test, because we know that, yeah, it's decreased with age. Yes, it's decreased with health, but also there is other determinants that can impact the result.
Exactly, Bettia. There have been many studies that have showed racial differences, with poorer test outcomes in Blacks and Hispanics, and then certainly socioeconomic status and education level. And so this is why we think these webinar series are so important, is really to try and educate our community and that you educate your circles so that we prioritize these types of strength exercises and recognize symptoms of when strength is weakening.
So now, how to improve your balance? So for example, there's just the single leg test that you can do by yourself at home. So the practice makes perfect, because doing this test daily at home will improve your balance over time. So yeah, it has been shown with studies that really motivated participants to do it every day. So it's
Yeah,
proved.
and you can do this while you're washing dishes, cooking, if you're watching TV, stand up, stand on one leg, stand on another leg. So really think about how you can incorporate these simpler exercises into daily life.
Completely. After that, we have some other. So Tai Chi. Tai Chi is really good. There's some research studies that proves the efficiency of Tai Chi. So there's different program of Tai Chi. It's just to highlight the fact that we know that Tai Chi improve balance, because there's many studies that really show it. The standing marches, it's something that we can do too. So it's really target the core, your hip flexor and the lower body. You just stand tall and engage the core, and you slowly march one leg up, keeping your body stable, and you slowly bring leg down, and you switch side and you repeat. So it's a simple thing that you can do at home. So of course, if you suffer already from, you already know that you have some medical history about any issue with your balance. So just be careful and ask your doctor about it first. But yeah, this, if you don't have any medical history, and you don't have any issue with your balance, but you just want to improve your balance every day, you have these little tricks. And the last one is the suitcase carry. So this one is like just hold a light dumbbell or your water bottle is maybe simple in one hand. And you stand tall, you walk in a straight line for like 30 and 60 seconds, between 30 to 60 seconds. And you switch hand and you repeat. So I wanted to show you that the VASE study, and you can find other studies that talk about Tai Chi and how it improves the balance test. So, for example, this was a really interesting interventional study. One group did Tai Chi and the other group didn't. And you can really see, like in weeks, how the balance improved. It's just the result of the balance test. And so the control is red, and the interventional, so the group that did Tai Chi, is in blue. So you can see that really quickly how they improve their balance. So now is the 30 seconds chair stand test. So the 30 seconds chair strength test is measure your strength and endurance of lower limb. So you really use the your lower body. So it really measures the strength of your lower limb. It's an inexpensive, of course, because we just need a chair. And the performance is really associated with frailty and the risk of falling. So that's why it's really interesting to do it when we do this kind of research about aging. And the key findings that we have in the literature is that it's decline. So we perform less well when we age. And the lower body strength is really a key for older people. So that's why it's so important. So the recommendation is to sit to stand exercise and resistance training for fall prevention, but we will go over that further.
Yep.
Use.
And then in these pictures, and as Bettia has shown, really you're taking your upper body strength out of the equation, right? You're not using your arms or your elbows to kind of help you go from sitting to standing. So it is really targeting your core, your legs, your butt muscles in and your balance in trying to go from sitting to standing.
So we present the test and we show you what was in the literature and what this test bring to the research. So for example, here it's a study about the 30 seconds chest stand and how the result decline with aging. So this is the number. You have the number in the y-axis and the age on the x-axis. So you can see it decline with age. So just to show you the relationship between age and this test. So this next one, it will. Yeah. So this is same. We show you how you can improve that, how you can improve your like lower body strength. So just do chair squat. It's like the same as doing the test by itself. So it targets the lower body muscle. So you stand with feet and hips wide, distant apart, and you just inch backward and squat down until just barely touching the chair. It's really doing squats, so you don't touch completely. So you slowly come back up to standing position and you repeat. The second one is just to do step up. So if you have something at home that can be elevated, you can just do stand in front of the step and you have reached with one foot on step and you slowly press through it of the foot and you just step back down and you repeat. It's just something to elevate in your house. It's really simple to do. And the last one is just the sit to stand with resistance. So it targets the same, the lower body with your leg muscle in your hip. And you sit on the chair with feet flat and you hold the resistance, the weight. And you lean forward and you push through your hip to stand upright. And you slowly lower yourself back down with control and you repeat. So the 10-minute walk test, is really simple because it's a walking test. So we measure for 10 meters, but really what we want to measure is your speed at normal pace and fast pace. So it's something that really we use. We use in cardiovascular and pulmonary fitness. We use other tests too, but this one is one of them. And we really want to measure your gait speed, and it will provide us indirect measure of your heart and lung disease state, because there's some study are showing that. And the key finding of the literature is like faster gait speed is associated with increased survival and decrease. So decrease is associated with mortality risk. And the gait speeds tend to decline with age. And the recommendation, we will go through the different exercise that you can do at home.
Yeah, and I would say, I think one of the great things about the Bay Area and other areas is that some of these things that you can do, and we'll talk about what you can do to improve your fitness is walking outside and the hills and the natural hikes that we have in our backyard.
Sure.
But if you don't live in the Bay Area and you don't have access to hills and natural hikes, you can walk at different speeds. I'm just gonna talk about the first one. I think I read about this as a Japanese walk fast, walk slow, and really walking at different speeds to improve the gait speed.
So yeah, the really simple thing that you can do daily is to walk outside. That's really, I think the if I we can like have one of these slides is just daily walking at different speed.
Yeah.
So it's the other one are really like some more tips, but the daily walking is the most important. Yeah. So the last one, the time up and go test. So this is pretty simple too. So you sitting, and we start to measure how much time you need just to get up, go do a little walk and come back and sit down. So it's really quick, it's inexpensive. And we have seen in the research that it's really related to cardiovascular fitness. And it could predict also mortality. So that's why this test is also important. And the performance decline with age also. We have poor score, and it's really increased for risk when we have lower score. Yeah. So this was the same study, but it's just to show you this time the time up and go that you can see on the top, yeah, here, and how it increased. You can see, for example, what we call the odd ratio. It's like more people that are between 75 and 79 years old do it like less quicker. So it's just to also show you that studies have shown that it's really correlated with age. So the little tips that we have for that. So also walking daily. Why? Because it's a walking test. So it's the same kind of tips that we have from the previous test. So daily walking, chair squat, suitcase carry, standing marches. So you can see that in every tips that we give you for all these tests, that is really simple things that you can do at home to improve your strength. Yeah. Okay, so question. We want to thank you because I think a lot of maybe the audience, your participants. So we really want to thank you for your participation or your future participation, because really research cannot be if you're not here and if you don't give us your time to do the research and be so patient with us. So thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know if you want to add something, Sharon.
Yeah, I think, the reason that we care so much about this is really characterizing strength. And as Bettia had mentioned earlier, we're really correlating this with immune function, cardiovascular risk, and tying it all together because they're all interconnected. And that is why, if you're part of our POYA study or interested in our POYA study, we look at this to understand how strength influences the immune system, how all of this is interconnected with cardiovascular health as well. And are there signals that we can detect changes in our functional status early signs where there's opportunities to become alert and aware of changes in our strength, changes in our immune system, and changes in our health. So, thank you for contributing to this research. There is a wonderful group of investigators that are studying so many different aspects of this, and we wouldn't be able to do it without you.
Thank
If you'd like to learn more about our research studies, please contact us. And I think our QR code is not showing up, but that is our website, and we're happy to send you links so that you can learn more about our webinars and our research. And our next webinar series will focus on nutrition and aging, so we'll look forward to that in August. And then more of our investigators will be presenting throughout the year to highlight some of the research from the participation through studies in our research center. So thank you so much. Any questions? Okay. Well, thank you so
Oh,
much for your time and your attention
we have
today.
one question
Oh, yeah.
or a request. Is there a way that we can send out like the list of the exercises that we discussed today to our participants?
Yes.
you. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Happy to.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great day and a great weekend. Get out and walk.
All right. Thank you.